Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another Let's Play video. My name is Elliot and today we're going to be playing the Stanley Parable, which is a first-person exploration game where you play a Stanley. And you don't play a Stanley. Basically you can choose whether or not to follow the story, which means the story could never end. And you'll be stuck with me forever. Please stay. I really need some friends. I'm getting lonely in here. So, without further ado, let's begin, shall we?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
427.
Employee number 427's
Hi, Stanley.
job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Oh, boring.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order.
Boring!
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
Oh, I go insane.
Although others might have considered it soul-rending,
Yes.
Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in.
You're an idiot,
Though
Stanley.
he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Moron.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
Oh?
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh, okay, it's me now. Okay. Coffee. Hello? Hello?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
God damn it, Janet. She does forget to send me emails sometimes. Eric! Leaving his bloody computer on all the time? You too, Jason. It's just... Think of the environment. It's just wasteful. Oh. Nope. Nope.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You're not the boss of me. I'll do what I want. I'm going this way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
No.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ooh. I do love the employee lounge. The smell, the aroma. Ah.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Oh, it is.
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Yep.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Oh, I could go for a drink. Oh. What?
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A
Not
room
these prices.
so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
That's a rip-off, though. Just make myself a coffee. And there, someone's used all the coffee.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Wait,
It's possible that this is why everyone left.
no, it's not. Fine.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Sure.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ah, this must be the meeting room. Hello!
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tip's not
Feeling a
getting
wave
fired.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Boss, he's always here. He practically lives here. Oh, there's the infamous broom closet. You guys know what goes on in the broom closet. Maybe Cheryl's waiting for me. Cheryl? Cheryl?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Maybe she left me a note?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Aren't you a negative Nancy?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
And again, if I tell the boss that everyone's gone, he'll think I'm insane. And nah, screw it. I'm going downstairs. I think my car's parked down here. Oh look, there it is.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe,
How did my car
he thought
fit
to
through
himself,
there?
maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
Hey?
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example,
through a car.
why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He
must be
yelled.
that.
This is all a dream.
Yep.
What a
Fell asleep
relief
at my
Stanley
desk.
felt to have finally found an answer. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Pretty much.
So
You do work in an
he
office job.
imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the
Oh.
ground.
Whoa!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared.
Oh,
It was
geez.
so much fun, and Stanley
pretty.
marveled that he had still not woken up.
I'm tripping.
How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Yeah.
Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
True.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Yes.
I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be?
Exactly.
Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? He would prove it.
Yep.
He would prove that he was in control,
Indeed.
that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently,
Okay.
and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
Oh, that's so good.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Yep.
My life is normal.
It should be.
I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
And I died.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella? She's cute.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself,
Stanley!
And then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like.
That is true.
And in that
They work in
moment,
office.
she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind.
Really?
I know what is real and what isn't.
Okay.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Call
and then
me an
she
ambulance!
turned and ran.
Stupid woman. Okay, back here, back in my office. Can't touch it. No. Ooh. Well, no one's around. The things I could do with that pencil sharpener.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is different. Right.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I trust you here. You seem to know everything.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Well, my boss
Coming
is
to a
eccentric.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Boss. Boss? Hello?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Why is the roof so tall?
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him.
Ooh,
and so the
really?
boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No. You. 2, 8, 4, 5 was it?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
Yes.
Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Thank you.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
The fireplace. Renovate? I thought I heard banging. Oh, a creepy lift. Oh, I don't like creepy. Oh, that's just a... Ugh. That's good. The light sparks every time you touch it.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Yeah,
It
I'm on
was
the
a
second
stirring
floor.
of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? this question would not go unanswered for long.
Stupid light. Get the electrician to fix that.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Oh, mind control. Really? Okay. Lights, camera.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Whoa.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
This would be great to watch a video game,
to find
a
out?
football game, or even a video game. It's like virtual reality, but bigger.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Oh.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Where's my number? Which one's mine? This is just a privacy thing. Oh, there we go. 427? Oh, okay, there we go. It's my office! I hope he hasn't seen me watching porn during work times.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
No.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
You'd say you'd have to be working in an office. The only way you can get me in there.
No. He refused to believe it.
Exactly.
He couldn't accept it.
No.
His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
Indeed.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Maybe.
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Yes.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Should I dismantle the controls? Think about it. If I turn this thing on and use its power for my own gain, I could get Cheryl to like me. And then I could take over the world. I don't remember the office being this big though.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
I could do the right thing and be boring at my job, still stuck in an office. Or I could have a lovely wife, such as Cheryl, and take over the world. Be good, be better. I think I want better.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Yep.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for
Indeed.
yourself. Is that what you wanted?
I do.
Control?
Yes.
Oh, Stanley.
Absolute control.
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave.
No.
If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that.
Your story?
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system.
Say what?
In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode,
Nuke?
eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes.
What?
Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Turn it off.
It's your time to shine. You
Off, please.
are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your
God.
heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it.
Shut
Mere
up.
moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where
Unlock
to
the
start. What's that?
Door.
You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
Not
A
now.
moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to
prick.
die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free.
What?
Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
Hey?
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
Yellow button.
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left.
What?
But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with
could
it.
not let me
I'm
die.
going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
Oh, you're all
These are
hard.
precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me.
Yes.
Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Oh, broke it.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death.
There's
You're
something
only
over
still
here.
playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see
You're a monster.
you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
You're sick.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let
Goodbye.
it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will
joke?
be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
God. Screw you.